First to the Kimberley in West Australia. Whether it's the sheer vastness of it or its immeasurable beauty, as they say, there's something about the sea that evokes all sorts of emotions. But the reality is we're all ultimately at its mercy, particularly those who work at sea, which is precisely what Jane Cunningham found when she joined the famous pearl divers of Broome.
This is a symbol of natural beauty and of wealth. But for the men and women who work in Australia's pearling industry, it signifies years of dedication and sacrifice.
Being in the industry so long, I think I understand it wasn't pot luck. To get the perfect pearl, there was a lot of work and research went into making that piece of jewellery. These are our recoveries from this neck, so we should be on target for neck 2 June for harvest.
Lance O'Sullivan is a manager with one of Australia's biggest pearl producers in Broome in Western Australia. He's been in the industry for more than 16 years.
We're at the jetty at 5:45 in the morning. We're out in the water in the dinghies, probably gearing up and jumping in the water by 6:30, 7 o'clock.
The industry is safer now than ever, although it's still not without its risks. Lance's best mate was taken by a shark while diving 10 years ago. But despite confronting sea life, extreme weather and the bends, he still goes about his work undeterred.
We might jump in and do a 3-hour dive to start the day with, going on a low tide. We'll come up, have a surface interval for 2 3/4 hours, and then we're back in for a second dive. You'd need to be passionate about the water, say, and diving. You know, you couldn't. It's not a job you could do if you didn't like diving or you didn't want to be around the ocean and the water.
Each diver has a daily quota, whether they're catching wild shells from the seabed or working at a pearl farm. Spending up to 10 hours a day underwater is demanding both physically and mentally.
We still maximise our bottom times. That's what it's all about. You've got to be underwater as long as you can to get the job done. So we work to the US Navy dive tables and we maximise our bottom times for the day. Yeah, I don't think no matter how long you do it for, there'll be times where you get startled or scared. There's a feeling of vulnerability there where you realise that you're pretty well like a fish out of water down there. And if something wanted to get hold of you, it probably well could. Yeah, it wasn't too bad. Water's all right. About 1.5 meters viz. A little bit of tide movement. Not bad at all. I think it would be good though when I'm a bit older just to be able to go to the office and do an easy day rather than come out and jump around in a dinghy and get slapped around by the waves in the cold.
Nature is one thing that's out of Lance's control, but today everything else is strictly regulated by an industry learning from the mistakes of its past. While working conditions for pearl divers have improved dramatically in the last 50 years, this rugged coastline and the whims of Mother Nature serve as a constant reminder of the dangers of life at sea.
Kanzo Makami, the diver, sturdy and small Japanese, seeker of pearls and a pearl shell, down the depths of the sea.
Salty Dog, once a drift diver, now runs the local Pearl Luggers Museum. He tells stories of the legendary Japanese divers who, in the early days, earned Broome the title of the Pearl Capital of the world.
And this suit here, we call this suit full dress. Now, these are massive, they are rubberised canvas suits. Now, the Japanese people and the Malay people, they're not particularly big and tall, and neither am I, but just to give you an idea of how big that suit really is, what do you think? One size fits all?
His life depends upon the alertness and skill of his tender, the thick manila rope tied round his waist, and the air hose which pumps a steady flow of rub fume-laden air to his brass helmet.
In the earlier days, yeah, it was far, far more dangerous than it was today. In those early days, and this way back before my time across, there was great loss of life. Around the turn of the century, they were losing 10% of the divers.
It was an era that Salty feels is best summed up by the words of Banjo Patterson in his poem The Pearl Divers.
Wearer of pearls in your necklace, comfort yourself if you can. These are the risks of the pearling. These are the ways of Japan. Plenty more Japanese diver. Plenty more little brown man. And I guess that really tells you that, I mean, the price of a pearl was a lot more than what it cost. There was a lot of human life that went into it.
In the old days, there wasn't a lot of standards. It was, you know, the jobs were there to do and you just got in and did them. But it's kind of been standardised a lot, and standard operating procedures. We've worked out the best way to do it, the easiest way to do it, and that's what we do.
Today, divers like Lance may work very differently, but there's one thing that connects him with the generations of pearl divers who have gone before him. That is the love of the pearl.
You know, I'll never forget the first pearl shell I picked up. And I remember thinking, wow, look, my first pearl shell, thinking, oh, I wonder whether this is the one that's going to grow a pearl that's going to go on Lady Di's little pinky or something like that. I mean, it wasn't, it was an ongoing thing. That was the first human hand that touched that pearl shell, which was then going to go on to be handled hundreds and hundreds of times before eventually to produce pearls. You know, which is what is the end result. And to me, and even till this day, that is one of the greatest passions of it.
Remember the times when they had all those Japanese girls doing the diving? It looked even more dangerous in those days. And I wonder why Jane Cunningham didn't do any diving herself.